Hi, my name is Gina Porter. I am the math specialist here at Rock Prairie Elementary. And for the next few minutes, I want to talk to you about part of what's going on during the second 9 weeks in first grade math. So let's start off with an overview of the second 9 weeks. They're going to start off by talking about some whole number relationships. Then they're going to use some concrete materials, some objects, to help them solve addition and subtraction situations. And then they're going to do a little bit of measurement with length and time. So we're going to talk about the length measurement and the time that they're going to talk about. When they're measuring length in first grade, they are doing what is called non-standard measurements, which means they measure objects with other objects. They're not using a ruler. They're not talking about inches or centimeters or feet. So for instance, they could lay this pencil here and they could measure it with small paper clips, or they can measure it with some larger paper clips. And then when they use the objects to measure, they have to understand that they need to be laid end to end with no gaps or overlaps from one end of the item to the other. And we also want them to start talking about the fact that if we use a small item to measure, for instance, the small paper clips, it takes more of them than if we use a larger item to measure, like the larger paper clips. So for instance, these pencils that are the same length are the length of five small paper clips, or the length of 3 large paper clips. And again, we have to talk about the fact that there can't be gaps between the paper clips, and they can't be laid so that they overlap each other, and that they have to start at one end of the item and then extend all the way to the other end if we're going to measure it. So we're practicing non-standard measurement, and we're measuring the length of items. For instance, you could have them measure their shoe, and you could give them Legos. Now again, if they're going to measure with Legos, it all has to be the same type of Lego, the same size Lego. And they can lay those next to the shoe with no gaps and no overlaps, starting at one end and going all the way to the other end of the shoe. And they can talk about, how many red Lego pieces long is their shoe, or how many blue Lego pieces long is their shoe. They can measure with anything. They could measure the length of your kitchen table with how many pieces of spaghetti long is your table. So the idea is just to experiment and get the idea that length is a continuous measurement with no gaps and overlaps. When they describe something that they're measuring the length, we want them to use the nearest whole unit using a number and a unit. For instance, they could say my pencil is 5 small paper clips long. So 5 is the number and the unit is small paper clips. Or they could say my pencil is 3 big paper clips long. So they're attaching a number and the unit there so that we know exactly what they measured with and how many of them it took to measure that item. They're also going to spend some time working on telling time on an analog clock. And I know we have lots of digital clocks around our house. I know I do. But they also need to be able to read an analog clock, just the normal clock that has the 12 numbers on it. If you could get a cheap clock at Walmart or the dollar store, you can get one for just $1 or $2. That would be a great tool to let them sit there and change the time and tell you what time they have on the clock, or for you to set it to a certain time and ask them what time it is. And again, they're only telling time to the half hour or to the hour. So they would not be able to tell you that it is 8:15, but they should be able to tell you if it's 8 o'clock or 8:30. Again, they're not going to be able to tell you if it's 5:40, but they should be able to tell you it's 5 o'clock or 5:30. They should be able to read those times. In second grade, they will continue on with more time, but we're getting them started in first grade. And so we're just really working on telling time to the nearest hour and telling time to the nearest half hour. Well, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Gina Porter. I'm the math specialist here at Rock Prairie. And if you would like to get in touch with me and talk about this or any other math topics, you can email me at jporter@csisd.org, or you can call the school and ask for me. And we have another training coming up on January 5th, where we're going to talk about the math topics that will be covered during the third 9 weeks. So I hope to see you then at our math training on January 5th. Again, thanks for watching.